Okay, let's start by opening the first map of Fort Noesis in Left 4 Dead. Start up your game, and then make sure your developer console is enabled by going to Options, Keyboard/Mouse, and then enable the developer console here and hit Done. Now open up the developer console by hitting the tilde key. It's the key that's right above the tab and to the left of the number 1 key. To open the first map, type map space L4D_NOE1 into the console and hit enter. Now that we have the tools set up correctly, we need to take a moment to discuss the game philosophy of Left 4 Dead. Unlike other Valve titles, Left 4 Dead is built upon a system called flow. A good analogy of this is how blood flows through the human body. Each map starts with either a player's start, or a checkpoint, and ends in the finale, or the second checkpoint. In between this is a system of directions the artificial intelligence can use to determine where the player is and where he will be. Left 4 Dead is capable of flow in any direction. However, the director will only spawn wandering zombies in new locations the player has not yet been to. This is why all official maps have a linear path, and there is no location in the map where you can lose the infected. So let's turn on the console right now. First, let's type in svcheats1. svcheats1 will turn cheats on and allow us to enter some of the other important console commands. zdebug1. zdebug1 turns the game into debug mode, and it allows you to see where the infected spawn. navEdit1. navEdit1 will start the nav editor, and what that does is you can edit the nav squares. zshowFlowDelta1. zshowFlowDelta1 will give you the distance of the overall flow that's placed within the map. Now let's turn on God mode. God1 will turn on God mode so you won't die. As you can see, the world of Left 4 Dead is broken up into many squares called the nav mesh. Each of these squares directs the AI within it to the next square. It also keeps track of where the player is at all times, so the player will always receive a constant stream of infected towards them. When building your map, it's important to recognize this because improper flow will give you poor artificial intelligence, and if the flow is broken, you'll not have wandering zombies in your maps. It's a good idea to make linear maps which follow Valve Software's predetermined map characteristics. This consists of 4 different map types: player start to finale, player start to checkpoint, checkpoint to checkpoint, and checkpoint to finale. This also allows some breathing room in between rounds where the player can collect themselves. In Fort Noesis, there are 3 maps which highlight the last 3 mentioned earlier. Map 1 is a player start to checkpoint map, Map 2 is a checkpoint to checkpoint map, and finally Map 3 is a checkpoint to finale map. Now let's take a moment to talk about all the special infected and how to best utilize them in your custom campaign. Let's turn off debug mode. I'm going to spawn a hunter by entering z_spawn hunter into the console. I set up a keybind so I can just hit one button and execute this console command, and then you can do that by opening the console and entering bind, then press your key, and then do the console command you want to execute, and then hit enter. Now when you hit that one key, you should be able to execute that specific command. The hunter is a fast, agile, and dangerous special infected, which spawn most of the time in maps. On a team of 4 players, generally 2 of those players are hunters when all players are spawned in. Hunters prefer long distance jumps to maximize their pounce damage. Hunters are generally considered vertical infected because maps have a lot of high places best utilize their playing style. Let's spawn a hunter up top here. Let's see if we can try and get him to pounce on me. Okay, let's see if I can spawn one again. Well, as you can see, he's a lot harder to hit when he's on top and pouncing down at me. I'm going to spawn a smoker by entering z_spawn smoker. The smoker is much slower than the hunter, but what he lacks in speed he makes up with his distance tongue attack. This allows him to attack survivors from relative safety. This also allows him to drag survivors. The Smoker is generally considered the weakest of the Special Infected, because most maps don't utilize his full potential. The Smoker is most effective in maps where he can use his pulling ability to incapacitate survivors or to drag them into a trap. As you can see in Map 1, the Fire Pit is a fantastic location for smokers to hide. If an unsuspecting survivor walks too close, they can be pulled in, instantly killing them. Maps which offer few traps, have no places to make survivors hang off a ledge, or have very little cover to pull survivors are very poor maps for smokers. Yeah, as you can see, you can just pull me in, I'm already dead. I'm going to spawn a boomer by entering Z_spawn boomer. Boomers have the unique ability to call in more infected by puking or exploding on survivors. While generally very weak and actually damaging the survivors, they allow the other infected to attack the survivors while they're busy dealing with the incoming horde. They also have the ability to explode and push survivors if they're too close. Let me see if I can get one to push me off this ledge. Boomers are most effective in maps which offer many different places of cover, and especially in maps where the boomer can puke on survivors without getting killed in the process. The holes in the ceiling are a fantastic place for boomers to puke on survivors and have a chance of escaping unharmed. There's also the Tank and Witch Special Infected, but I'm not going to discuss them at this point. The reason for this is because the director automatically spawns them depending on your map length and which map in the series you're playing. The only thing you want to consider is the amount of physics props in your map, because the tank can use them as a weapon when he hits them.